Special show for you guys. We're going to unveil our preliminary top 100 big board CPGM draft board. Nothing set in stone. A lot of evaluation still to come. The pre-draft process hasn't even really truly begun yet. But draft season is right around the corner. We got the national championship on Monday, last week of the regular season. So effectively, draft season starts Sunday night. Our top five is a little. It may not necessarily be what everybody else has out there, but that's okay. This is the unique brand of CPGM. Our top five consists of Marvin Harrison Jr., Brock Bowers, Olu Fashanu, Caleb Williams, and I twisted their arms, D Kit. Give me Malik Neighbors. I know Drew and Headley have pounded the table for Rome Odunze, but I was able to twist their arms and get my guy into the top five. All right. Speaking of that top five, any pushback? Now that we're live, now that we've unveiled the top five, the top eight, as you can see here, any pushback?
No, I like the top five. I probably might have pushed Joe Alt in there because I got him so close to Olu Fashanu as the top tackles in the class. Right. Also, Caleb Williams at number 4, maybe push him to maybe 3. The quarterback position, the most important position. His talented quarterback there. But that's just nitpicking, man. I like I like the 6. I like the 6 right there, or 7. I could throw in Rome also. I think those are the 7 best players in the class right there. So I'm not mad at the 7, just the orders. Maybe Caleb at 3, maybe Joe Alt at 5. But I love Marvin Harrison Jr. and Brock Bowers 1, 2. I think those 2 guys are the top 2 guys in this class. I know we might get some pushback with the tight end position. The tight end position is, a position where it's not as sexy. We've had guys go in the top 10 before that really hasn't panned out. But, I think Brock Bowers is different. And in this league, man, it's another wide receiver at the end of the day. Another pass catcher for your quarterback. And Brock Bowers is elite with the ball in his hands, yards after catch. So I like him number 2 right behind Marvin Harrison Jr. DK pointed it out. Yeah, number 2.
Yeah, Bowers is high.
I don't know. I don't know that we're getting the pushback. Maybe with Fashanu, even the quarterback, right. I certainly understand why someone would push Caleb further up the board. Those first 2 seasons in Georgia, man, I don't know how Brock Bowers. I mean, he's definitely top 5. Let me put it that way, right? He starts out as top 2 for us. May not necessarily end up there. He missed some time this season. Still was a difference maker, but. Yeah, I love Brock Bowers, man. This is not a Kyle Pitts situation. And frankly, a lot of people believe Kyle Pitts was the top prospect in that corresponding draft, right? Hasn't worked out, but I think Bowers is a better prospect. That's my opinion.
Hey,
I didn't have Pitts at 1. I mean, you can. I'm just saying Bowers is a better prospect.
Oh, no, I would agree with you, but he's out there being misused right now, Kyle Pitts. I think we all can agree on that with Arthur Smith out there. He might be out, by the way. Headley, how you feel about that?
I'm hearing Eric Bieniemy, man. If we get Eric Bieniemy to jumpstart that offense, man, I'm not mad at that.
Yeah, I ain't mad at that either. Only pushback I have here, man, is I'd like to see Rome at 5, bro.
Rome.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Rome at 5, but I'm cool with it, man, because him and Neighbors are close. I mean, Rome did his thing in the Sugar Bowl, balled out as usual, as per usual. Can I say something real quick before we jump to the next few folks?
Yeah, go ahead.
We tried to tell y'all about Washington, bro, and nobody wanted to listen. I said it's the best team in the country. They went out there, they did their thing. And the thing about Washington, man, in years past, I don't necessarily think they were good at running the football, but these guys can run the football, they can pass the football, and the defense makes timely plays when necessary, man. So when you have all of that, I think you got a good recipe to take it to the bowl, and I think they're going to beat Michigan, by the way. That's just my opinion. But, yeah, man, and now Michael Penix is possibly the number 1 and number 2 best quarterback, all this other stuff, bro.
Drew, they still hating on Penix. I seen the top 5 today. They had Penix QB5 behind J.J. McCarthy. I'm not sure.
J.J. McCarthy?
Yeah, they had J.J. at 4.
Bruh.
Penix at 5.
That dude got to come to the front of the congregation,
still on his name. I think they still sleeping on Penix. The only place I've seen Penix in the top 5 is us, man. It's us. Drafting him in the top 5 consistently. Right here, he makes the 9th best prospect. I know you're gonna get to that next, Juice. The next 5 guys, but he's number 9 for us in the entire class.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
I don't get it. You know, I went in a little bit during our New Year's live, right? Our 3-round mock draft. I went in a little bit in terms of the fact that Michael Penix has always been really good, right? He may not necessarily have gotten the national attention playing at Indiana, dealing with the injuries. But we talk about a 4-8 Washington Huskies team 2 years ago. Before Penix got there, they were 4-8. Double-digit wins last year, and now they're playing for a national championship. By the way, I agree with you, Drew. I think they're taking it. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm not understanding the if let me put it this way. If Trey Lance, who did what, nothing in college football, threw like 200 passes in college football, can go top 3. If Carson Wentz can go 2nd overall, I mean, Zach Wilson. I mean, we can go on and on and on about this, right? In terms of teams are always going to overdraft quarterbacks, right? And I don't know why fans, analysts are hedging so much based on what they're seeing. The injury concern, the red flag associated with that, it's legitimate. I'm okay with that. I'm okay if that's the knock on Penix, but the whole notion that he doesn't create, this seems to get back to the CJ Stroud conversation. It's getting back to CJ Stroud in terms of because he doesn't necessarily lean on his athleticism. That's their knock against him, right? Once Stroud demonstrated it, it was a done deal. It was a done deal at that point. And Penix did the same thing in the college playoffs. So I expect when it's all said and done, you know, people aren't going to want to be wrong. There'll be a few contrarians out there, but people aren't going to want to be wrong. There'll be a little bit of a group think. But to your point, Headley, you know, we were out in front of it. You know what I'm saying? You know,
if the word is if the conversation is outside of the injury thing, because again, they can have that, right? But if you're going to tell me it's a CJ Stroud thing, you're going to tell me it's his ability not to use his mobility and move around in the pocket, I'm going to tell you you ain't been watching Washington football. Because that's
and I think that's a huge part of it. I think that's a huge part of it. We've even had folks comment on the channel, the community tab, about they thought they were kind of in a silo. Husky fans, you know, the people in the greater Northwest, the Pacific Northwest, they didn't think the rest of the country, because of the way he'd been ranked and way he's, you know, slotted in various mock draft databases and so on and so forth, that they even bothered to watch it. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, I really believe when he punctuates, because I certainly believe he will, when he punctuates his collegiate career here on Monday, I don't think there's going to be anybody on a national level who doesn't have Penix in their top 5, bro, or at 5. I think the lowest he's going to be is 4 when it's all said and done in terms of those major outlets. He's going to force their hand, and again, nobody wants to be wrong. You understand what I'm saying? So I expect that to change. All right. So Heather, you mentioned Penix at 9, Drake May at 8. Seems like, you know, a little bit out of sight, out of mind with Drake May, but certainly believe in his ability. Certainly believe in his ability, his upside. Think he's going to be the second quarterback off the board. You know, I know Jaden Daniels is getting the push, and of course Michael Penix is turning heads, but I still do believe Drake May will be the second quarterback off the board. Latu, you know, that's our first defender, man, and we've been steadfast. We've been steadfast with respect to that, followed by a few defenders here: Johnny Newton, Trezon Newton, Jared Verse, Dallas Turner, and then we get to Jane Daniels, Troy Fautanu, and Talisa Fuaga round out the top 16.
Yeah, that's what we're going to right there. The Troy Fautanu. Drew fought for it, man. It's Drew. That's why he's in our top 15 at number 15. I didn't have him that high, but you know, I went back and watched the tape, man. I say Drew loves this guy. I got to go back and watch his tape some more. I think those games against Oregon, both games against Oregon, really showcased his strengths and really showcased the weakness that he has. Right now, to me, the biggest weakness for Fautanu is the strength. You know, you see Brandon Dorless throw him off base a lot of times. It's that power, that bull rush move. So he needs to get stronger. And let's talk about, is he a tackle? Is he a guard, an inside player? He's a tackle, man. You know, watching him, it reminded me of when I was watching Isaiah Wynn. And I do believe he has longer arms than Isaiah Wynn. I'm hearing that he's going to have the 34-inch arms. Isaiah's Wynn was under 34 at 33 inches. So he has the arm length, the requisite arm length to play the tackle position, but his movements abilities, his how he moves from side to side, from back, how he does all of that, his pass rushing, his hand work, it all screams tackle to me. The guard, the lack of strength from him, I don't think he'll hold up as guard as good as he would as tackle. I think he'd be okay at guard, but the tackling, the grace that he plays with, the pass rushing, the pass blocking, he handles that really well. So to me, he's a tackle, but 15, I wouldn't have had him this high. I like Fuaga over him. I know what Fuaga is all day, the physicality, the power. I have him over Fa'atanu, but that's Drew's guy, man. He fought for it. He's number 15. And as far as Latu and those guys, those defenders there, yeah, the pass rushers, man. After the offensive players go, it's going to be those pass rushers with Latu, Dallas Turner, Newton, Burst. And, that's one of our guys, man. We've called a bunch of guys in this class, way back when. I think Penix is one. Malik Neighbors is another one. And Latu, man. We was on Latu from middle of last season, man. Just the hand usage of him, just the technician, man. And, some people talk about his athleticism as well, but on tape, man, it's how he comes off the line, how he uses his hands, how he gets his quarterback. I'm not worried about what he's going to run, say, at a 40-yard dash at the combine.
You talking about Latu?
Yeah, Latu.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Not worried about somebody cares. Somebody cares.
Somebody does care. You're right.
So let me put it this way. I've reached out to a couple different people that I follow in the draft community and got their thoughts early on Latu. Now, of course, the tune has changed. Tune has changed, right? He's more of a top 15, top 20 guy for most folks now. But previously, he was more of a top 40, top 50 guy, right? Because they didn't believe he had an elite athletic trait. You understand what I'm saying? And I don't put Latu in the categories of Myles Garrett, right? You know what I'm saying? I don't think he's a top 3, top, potentially first overall pick. The reasons why Latu won't go first overall outside of the injury, because obviously that's the flashing neon red, that doesn't necessarily cooperate, but you know what I'm getting at. You know what I'm getting at, right? Walker from Georgia goes to Jacksonville because of the upside, the athletic gifts, the physical tools that he had. Latu doesn't possess that. What he possesses is the ability to consistently get after the quarterback, and he's a damn good run defender as well. Right? It's not sexy. It's not sparky. The analytics community may not necessarily love it, but he's going to be incredibly effective. And the way he works, I don't know if people notice, the way he works, I think is what's going to continue to buoy him and make him one of the better pass rushers. Once he gets once he finds his footing in the NFL, he's going to be hell to deal with. He's so effective technically, and he still has room to grow. From a physical perspective, right? As far as functional strength, he still has room to grow there. Not weak by any stretch of the imagination, but like I said, I actually think better football is ahead of him. I don't think he's coming in while he's already coming in with a very high floor. I don't necessarily think he's near his ceiling just yet. I think Latu could be a difference maker, not just a good, solid player that you pick in the middle of the first round and he has a good long. I think he could be one of those perennial guys. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. We'll see ultimately how it works out. I also think landing spot will matter, right? How he's deployed, but I'm optimistic about him. I really am. Let's see. D-Kit mentioned Jaden Daniels a little too high. He can't abide by Drazon Newton be ahead of Jared Verse. Drew, your thoughts on Newton? Yeah, that's what I wanted to get to. That's what I wanted to get to.
Yeah, that was a comment I was gonna bring up. But yeah, so Drazon, when you talk about if you want to put him up against Verse, when you look at their max potential, I think Drazon Newton gives you all of it. I think he can play anywhere on the defensive line. But again, that is, and I know. D-Kid's thing is he be, I don't want to say it loafing, but sometimes he just disappear in games. And when he disappear, Illinois, they didn't look good on defense. Him and my guy Randolph, right? But Drazon he got that penetration, that first step. He got them heavy, super Godzilla hands, causing destruction. He can displace the line of scrimmage, dislodge, displace, everything along that line of scrimmage. He can play the run as good as he can play the pass. It's just, that one thing, like, hey, if the game isn't going your way, what Jerzon Newton am I going to get, right? And this is me assuming you're getting the best of Jerzon Newton versus Jared Verse, where there's some chinks in the armor over there. He's instinctual. We like the burst off the edge, right? I think he could be a little bit of a better run defender, but I'm gonna take Jerzon Newton over Verse. It's close though. It's very close. Like if someone just chose Verse over Jerzon, I get it, but I'm gonna take me a Jerzon, man. And we've seen him play. We've seen him 2-gap. We've seen him, 1-gap. We've seen it all from him, right? So I think you have the entire picture with him, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have a comp for him.
I'm terrible with comps, bro.
Readily, but I do want to give it some thought. So Dave, we'll get back to you at some point in this broadcast. We'll get back to you on that comp because I want to give it a little bit more
think
thought
about it. Yeah, if you got to think about 3 technique.
Yes.
I think he's probably the best 3 tech in the class. 1-gap, his penetrating ability. He makes guys look silly sometimes, man. If he beats you early, you're done for, man. I think the more you stay in it with Newton and let him hand fight, I think that's where you could potentially win against him. But he's so quick, man. It's just he embarrasses guys, man. Sometimes guys don't even get a hand on him. So, somebody with that quickness, man. That's a guy that we have to comp to Newton.
The guy that comes to mind immediately, and I would like to give it a little bit more thought, but the guy that comes to mind immediately is Grady Jarrett. That's what comes to mind.
That's a good one.
You know what I mean? And Grady has demonstrated that he can play multiple positions along the defensive line, but obviously he's at his best as a 3 technique, and that's what we want to see Johnny Newton. I'm sure there may be a better comp for him, but that's the one that jumps out at me is Grady Jarrett.
Yeah, like Joey Nichols say, undersized, explosive. Yep. When you think of that, that's Grady Jarrett all day.
Yep. What's going on, Joey? Shout out, man. All right, let's move on. I want to talk about Fuaga, man. I want to talk about Fuaga. I want to buy in. I want to buy in more. I know he has the ability. What am I missing with Fuaga? Because, like I said, I know he can down block. I know he can down block, and then certainly when he gets his hands in you, it's generally a wrap. But I see him, with speed and that bend. Oh, by the way, Joey, as far as Latu being tight, he's working on it. I'm telling you, he's working. He's working. He's going to be much more bendy than I think most people are anticipating when it's all said and done. But what am I missing with Fuaga here, gents?
Well, first off, he's dominant in the run game. He's probably one of the most dominant guys in the run game. In the pass game, from a technical standpoint, he could improve. But what gave me more reassurance about him was when they faced off against Latu. Latu we saying he's the best pass rusher in this class, and Latu kind of beat him early, but his ability to kind of like reshuffle, get his feet back, and get back in phase with Latu. The recovery from the pass ups. So that's what really gave me some reassurance with Fuaga when I watched that one-on-one matchup with who we say is the best pass rusher in this class. So I think he can improve the pass game, but run game, man, he's so dominant there, man. He could be a plug and play guy. And if it doesn't work out at tackle, I think he'd be an incredible guard as well.
All right. I'm going to get back into the tape. I've watched a lot of tape, but I'm going to get back into the tape. I think Fuaga is more of a projection than people are willing to admit, right? I think there's a lot to work with. You know what I'm saying? And as you mentioned, the run game, he's among the best in this class, right? But I think there's just a little bit more of a projection than people are willing to admit at this juncture. But let me go back. Let me go back and double down on this film study. Yeah.
Now you're right, Juice. When you watch his pass reps, you see things that he could work on. So I think you're right, absolutely right on that.
I think it might be and I'm not putting him in this class because he's a better player than this guy, but it may be the Trevor Penning thing. Right, where you like the nasty in the run game, you like him throwing people to the ground, you like all that stuff. But I think people kind of fall in love with that a little bit, and you're like, and it's nothing crazy in terms of his pass blocking game, right? It's things you look at and you're like, oh, I can fix that. I know what the issue is there. We can adjust that. We can adjust, you know what I'm saying? Because he has all the other things, all the traits that you want. So if there's just a couple of chinks in the armor, these coaches looking at, these scouts looking at, thinking coaches can fix that, then it's like, hey, that's a quality, starter. You know what I'm saying? A plug and play player, right?
Yeah, Joey, I agree. I don't think Drew is making that apples to
No, no,
apples
no, no, no,
comparison.
no, no, no.
I think he's just kind of referring to the nastiness that D Kit mentioned and the fact that he's so good in the run game that you might overlook certain things. But Joey, this is exactly what I see on tape. We're in lockstep on here. They just get out of whack. Hands and feet get out of whack. They're not mirrored up. They're not matching often enough for my liking. So I'm gonna get back in there though. I need to look at more reps of him, more reps. But like I said, and it seems that the panel agrees with me here, is that he's a little bit more of a projection than I think people are actually letting on at this juncture. But certainly the traits, the mentality, the run blocking, and the athleticism to play out there on the edge at tackle is all there. All right, let's get into our next 8 or so. Let's go 8 deep here. We got Chop Robinson moving up on D-Kit's board, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Nate Wiggins, Cooper DeJean, Terry and Arnold. I'm of the mindset that I might move Terry up a little bit, maybe a little bit.
Yeah. Where would you put him? Right here.
That's what we're hearing.
Right
yeah,
the talk is that he's better than Kool-Aid, and the tape from last season, you're like Kool-Aid's cornerback one, and it's kind of like we've seen so much dominance from Kool-Aid the season before. But then you see Terry and Arnold, because he kind of struggled a little bit, Arnold, last season. Then you see him this season, because he's a safety. He's moved from safety to corner. He's new to the corner position, but you just see him getting better and better and better every week, where he had a better season than Kool-Aid this season. Pound for pound, he was the better player at cornerback for Alabama. So now it's the debate. Who is cornerback one? We got these guys all grouped up together. Nate Wiggins probably the best zone corner out of all of them all. Kool-Aid, an excellent man corner. I think Arnold is like a combination of both of them, where he's excellent in man and zone. So, I think
that's what it does it for me. I think that's what it does it for me, is that the versatility he offers, I think it trumps Kool-Aid. I think there are certain traits that Kool-Aid possesses that are superior to Terry and Arnold. But when you talk about scheme versatile as well as playing inside, right? They gave that responsibility to Terry and Arnold. They were the matchup guy was Terry and Arnold, right? When it came to moving in and outside the numbers, Kool-Aid predominantly was on the boundary. So I think I lean that way. I'm a little bit higher on Nate Wiggins than I think most are. Again, maybe be some limitations there from a scheme perspective, but I think his upside is insane. I definitely have Arnold over Cooper DeJean, because I think Cooper DeJean is a safety. We have him listed as a safety. I think he is a safety at the next level. I've tried to imagine, okay, if he's in a cover 3, can he play that? I think he's at his best as a safety. And if you're making the case that that's what he's going to be, because I'm hearing different messages there. I'm getting mixed messages there in terms of what he's going to be expected to play at the next level, then you can certainly make a case for him as a top 20 guy. But I'd like to get Arnold into the top 20. That's all.
Yeah. Speaking on DeJean, it depends on the scheme you're running, right? If you're going to play heavy zone, off-ball coverage, yeah, he could play cornerback. But if you want to play man or be sticky with hip fluidity, he's not that guy. So it all depends on what team drafts him, what a coach sees, where they want to put him in their scheme. But to me, safety, man, that click and close ability, how he tracks the football. Once he gets hands on the football, he could go 6. He's just so athletic. I just wouldn't want to pigeonhole him at outside corner, because I think he could do a lot more than that on a defense.
I hear you. All right, let's continue on. D-Kid indicates that Amarius Smith should be over J.C. Latham. I don't necessarily disagree with him. What are your thoughts there?
Real quick, I'm just answer this question about it.
Sure.
If you play for Alabama, you got to tackle if you're playing corner. There's no question.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You will not play for him. Nick Saban don't care how good you can cover.
Yeah.
If you can't tackle,
both those guys can tackle. Arnold's an excellent tackler, and
both
Kool-Aid. Both those guys can tackle.
I think Arnold's better at the moment of truth than Kool-Aid.
Yeah, Kool-Aid.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree.
Yeah.
Speaking on Mims,
I agree with this, Nash. I agree with that. That's why I think he's a safety.
Yep.
He's a safety, and he's your nickel.
Like a Chauncey Gardner-Johnson type.
Yeah.
Who's that? Are you talking about DeJean?
Yeah, they're not a comp at all, but just the position that they be playing on the field.
Yeah,
they can come down and guard the nickel.
They'll play it a little bit differently, but it might result in the same. The results may be the same, if that makes sense.
Yeah, As far as Latham and Mims, I think Latham is, you just see it more with Latham.
Sure.
You know, Mims is never really on the field, and even when he's
Injuries.
healthy,
He's been hurt.
they're rotating him in and out of the lineup.
Titan Man said it. Titan Man 9000 said it right here.
When available.
Yeah, when
That's
available.
funny.
Yeah, when available. You see more Latham, the power, the strength. Yeah, Latham has some foot speed issues, sliding, but for a big guy for his size, I think he does it well. But Mims is the athlete. He's big, he's strong, he's fast, he gets to the second level. So he has probably more potential than Latham. But, you know, Latham, man, availability is the best ability sometimes. And he's always out there on the field for Bama.
And Latham, it might end up for him, either he's going to go really high or he may drop a little bit, because I think might be a scheme specific thing for him, right? So, but Mims is kind of just roll the dice, bro. Who knows, right? Good luck.
Oh, there go Dave. Yeah, man. He said, how much you grade the evaluation of the school, man? You never want to grade the helmet.
Yeah, don't scout.
So this is what I do. I don't necessarily, not necessarily. I don't. What do they say? I don't scout the school, right? The helmet, as they call it. But it's in the back of my mind somewhere.
Yeah.
It lingers in Drew's head.
It lingers a little bit. Especially scheme, though. You could grade the scheme that the school plays and how it presents to the next level.
I grade coaching, right? If at a particular university they have position coaches or coordinator or a head coach that seems to churn out quality players at the NFL level, regardless of where they land, because what people don't seem to always grasp, I'm not accusing our audience of this. Our audience certainly understands this, is that not everybody goes to the NFL and gets quality coaching, right? We talk about this a lot when it comes to the quarterback, but across the board, any of the positions on the field, even at the NFL level, those players still need coaching. They still need development. You know what I mean? It makes a difference at every position. So I will put a little, cachet into the university if there's a coaching staff there or position coaches, an individual coach, whatever the case may be, that has a track record with a particular position or position group. You know what I'm saying? Because I recognize, and I've seen it over time, those guys are coached up. Those guys understand from a technical standpoint, their football IQ is higher. They are coachable. All those things I will take into consideration. It's not just flatly the university, though. It's a little bit more granular than that. Yeah, absolutely.
What happened to this man? What happened to that? What is it? What's that song? What happened to that boy?
What happened to that boy?
That's when you look at potential and what you could potentially mold a guy on. It's tape.
Especially at the O-line position. Yeah.
Especially at the O-line position.
Tape over potential.
Yeah. That could hurt you.
Yeah, I think we've all been burned. I think we've all been burned, really putting our stock into the potential and those flashes, especially at the offensive line, along the offensive line, and not prioritizing the technique, the proven commodities with respect to that. They may not necessarily be as sexy or have the elite athleticism or the 35-inch arms, or whatever the case may be. But certainly it's been something that we have actively, we resist. You have to kind of resist it, because it's mouth-watering. Pause. You know what I'm saying? When you talk about a guy who has that really, really high ceiling, you know what I mean? And they have all the desirable traits at a particular position, at the tackle, guard, whatever the case may be. But, it doesn't necessarily always translate. And, of course, landing spot matters, because you don't always get great coaching as well, right? To mold those players. So if you're trying to eliminate, or mitigate risk, you tend to, or at least we do, we tend to favor the guys who a little bit more technically sound, a little bit more technically developed. All right. Last guy here in the top 24, Brandon Dorlus. We put our money where our mouth is, man. Right? We've consistently taken Dorlus in the first round of our mock drafts because we think that highly of him. We absolutely do. You know what I mean? And like I said, I want to give Headley credit, because Headley, peaked a couple seasons ago. He peaked in a couple
He's
seasons
another one of our guys. He's one of our guys.
Man, absolutely.
And like you said, we got to put our mouth, where it's at, because, we got to rank these guys how we see them, man. I know the consensus has Dorlus a top, 50, 60 player. We got him way down there. But, once we watch the tape and how he's beating guys, beating guys that we have higher than him on this list, and he consistently beat those guys. So we got to put him up there. in the top 25.
All right. And rounding out the top 25, we have Braylon Trice. I believe there was a question about Braylon Trice earlier.
Yeah. No, it was a comment.
It was a comment. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Braylon Trice has cemented himself. He's going in the first round. There's no question about it in my mind anymore. I don't know where you stand on this one, Headley, but Devondre Sweat got to be in my top 32. He's got to be in my top 32. Cam Kitchens, you know how that goes. Graham Barton, Brian Thomas. Brian Thomas has certainly helped himself a lot this year. He makes his way into the top 30. Rounding out the top 30 is Keon Coleman, Xavier Legette, that's my guy, and Tyler Nubin, our top 32 or the 32nd ranked player here. Rounding out the top 32. Thoughts with respect to these 8 players? Who's high? Who's low? What would you do differently?
I might. Let me think through it. I like where Thomas is in front of Coleman. That is for sure.
Joey. I think the consensus outside of Couch Potato General Manager is he's still relatively under the radar. Now that may change if he does end up going to Mobile.
Yeah, if he goes to Mobile and goes to the Combine, it's a wrap.
Yeah. I think all bets are off at that point. But certainly currently, I think he's still somewhat off the radar.
I think this is good, bro. I
like the 8. I like the 8. I think the big one, like you said, Devondre Sweat. I like him, man, because to me, when you talk about technically savvy, you know, in the edge position, we're talking about Latu, how he uses his hands, right? Sweat is like that on the inside. 360 pounds, but has elite hands to, you know, swat defenders' hands away and rush the passer. You know, I know he doesn't get a lot of credit for rushing the passer. He's more of a run stopper. But he creates that pressure. You know, he might not get to the quarterback, but he'll take him off his spot, make the edges get the quarterback. But yeah, man, 26, I can't argue it, man. To me, he's one of the top, 32 best players in this class. It's just, I'm not sure if he's going to get drafted in the first round because of, maybe he's just a 2-down player at the next level, first and second down, and can't affect the passer consistently.
So to answer this question, it depends on what you're looking for. Overall, I would take Sweat easily. But Murphy, to me, is probably a 3 technique. And he is hard to move once he gets going. So it just depends on what you're looking for from that D-tackle position for me. But I like both players.
D-Kit, you want BB and Zach Zinter, don't you? Those are the guards you want, huh?
On the inside. Yeah, the Giants need help on the inside.
They do.
Yeah. I tend to agree with you, Dave. I'm not sure he gets down to 330. He might be a robust 345. I think I'll take that, though. I don't think he can play at 360. No. He needs to be at 345 so we can get at least a decent number of snaps out of him. Because Karen
hurt his pass rush, man. You hurt his pass rush if you get to 360. Now you're really talking about a 2-down player. I think. Right?
Dex is different. Dex is different, bro. Dex is different, bro. If Sweat ends up like Dex, oh my goodness.
Yeah, you got a monster on your hands.
Oh my goodness, man. And like he's not Sweat's not the athlete Jordan Davis is, but I said some craziness, I don't know, maybe a month ago.
You did.
Man.
About 3 weeks.
I'm not as high on Jordan Davis as everybody else. I'm not. He's big. He's fast. He's an incredible athlete. I just don't see the upside. Again, we talk about the traits and getting excited about a player and what they could become. You know what I'm saying? I'm not seeing it.
Yeah.
And I remember a while back. This is at least a year now, maybe plus. A while back, I did a poll on our community tab, and I had Derek Brown in there from Carolina, and everybody was just like, Derek Brown is like, nothing compared to Jordan Davis. I'm like, what?
Nah, Derek Brown's a beast.
Bruh, come on, man.
It's just a position that's kind of hard to grade because of the counting numbers. They're not getting all the sacks. They're not getting all the tackles, but how they affect the game, if they could take 2 guys and the linebackers could rack up the tackle, get those guards and centers off of your linebacker, you done your job right there in the run game. You did your job right there. So you don't have to put up big stats at interior defensive line to affect the game. And And that's what Sweat's going to do day one. You plug him in there. If your team had any struggles against run defense, the Chargers, the Seahawks, any struggle, you plug him in right there, and it fixes it automatically. Your linebacker might go to the Pro Bowl because of what he does for everybody else around him.
Yeah, and that's my point, right? You're right. You're right. It's interior defensive lineman, and there's it's a new shiny toy associated with Jordan Davis at that time compared to Derek Brown. Carolina obviously going through their struggles, whatever the case may be, but. Yeah, I've yet to see it from Jordan Davis. I've yet to see it. I hope he puts it together, right? Because he and Jalen Carter are supposed to form the duos of duos in the interior of that defensive line. We're talking Stroud and Henderson. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of impact that we're looking for. So we shall see. Oh wow!
I mean, before the season started, it was
very different body types. I love DeForest Buckner. Very, very different body types. But I will say that the flexibility to play 5, 4-eye, 3, over the nose, I think that is where the similarity is. I would agree with that part of it. Yeah, different body type, Joey, for sure. As it pertains to this top 32 or this 8 that we have on the board here, you already know what my beef is. You know what my beef is.
Oh, Xavier Legette.
Yeah, man.
You talking about Legette? Yeah, the wide receivers, how we stacked them up.
Yeah, man. Disrespect.
Man, you know what it is?
Disrespect.
Hey, Brian Thomas Jr. is different, bro. Like the way he explodes, he tracks the football, the yards at the catch. Yeah, I think all three of these guys route running can improve. I think that's probably their weakness. All three of these guys, they're not the polished route runners like a Roma Dunze, Malik Neighbors, Marvin Harrison. That's why they're kind of lower on the list. But the athletic traits from Brian Thomas, Keon Coleman, and Xavier Legette is excellent. And Legette only did it for all these guys are kind of like.
No, Brian was 2
guys.
No.
These guys
Brian
are all.
was 2.
Thomas had 2 seasons. Yeah, 2 seasons for Thomas. Keon had the 1 big year, and Legette had the 1 big year too.
I don't even have a problem with Brian Thomas over Legette. I have a problem with
Keon Coleman.
Yeah, it's Keon Coleman, bro.
No,
don't do that. Don't do that.
Look behind you, bro. Look behind you. That you vice coming up.
Don't do that, man. I think Keon Coleman is top 40, bro. I don't think he's top 30. I think he's top 40. I think he's between 32 and 40. That's where I have him. I have Legette before Keon Coleman, right? And we talked about it. We talked about which receiver of the two, which and they have their shortcomings, right? We know what their weaknesses are. But we talked about, based on their skill set, based on what they've demonstrated, who's likely to be the alpha in a receiver room? Who's more likely? We all agreed to Xavier Legette. We all agreed.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I can't put Keon Coleman over him.
I think Coleman has a higher floor, though. I think Coleman has a higher floor. I think he could be a wide receiver, plug and play, red zone threat.
I hear you. I hear you from that perspective. I do. Yeah, Legette got that star power, though, bro.
He does.
If he puts it together, because again, like you said, it's 1 year worth of production. Keon Coleman actually has more production over the course of his career compared to Xavier Legette. They both are very good with the ball. Legette has that juice. You know what I'm saying? I think when we talk about size speed combinations, we tend to focus on the deep ball. I think Legette makes plays at every level. You know what I'm saying? I think there's a looseness in the hips. He can get in and out of his breaks. Again, still polishing that needs to happen, but he didn't disappear like your guy Keon Coleman did at times, right? Even in those tightly contested games, because I know FSU blew out a lot of teams this year. Even in those tightly contested games, there were some games where he just and you know what's bugging me? What's bugging me is that contested catch percentage is really bugging me with Keon Coleman. It's low. 30% is not good enough. Basketball background, you're supposed to be the guy that plays above the rim. That's not working for me. That's not working for me because he's not going to route guys up. He's not going to separate like that at the next level. So you got to make the contested catches. Of course, Roma Dunze contested catch percentage is like 70%. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, bro. Absolutely. All right. Moving right along here. 33 through 40. Kamari Lassiter, Troy Franklin, Leonard Taylor, Enos Rakestraw. Rakestraw, a big climber here recently for us here at CPGM. Tez Walker, Jordan Morgan, Josh Noonan, Adonai Mitchell. Thoughts here in this group?
So is scroll up real quick. I just want to see something with the other corners real quick. I just want to make sure I ain't missing out with the other corners real quick.
Oh, you mean up here?
Yeah,
all the way.
Yes.
We had all four of them together.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Kool-Aid, Nate Wiggins, Cooper, Terrion.
They're bunched up.
So this would be like our quarterback five.
Five.
These guys right here. With Lassiter, Rakestraw, Josh Newton. I like all three of those corners. You know, I recently watched tape on Rakestraw. Went back to watch tape on Lassiter. I love both of those guys. The intensity they play with. You know, the alpha, the short memory is a corner. The swag is just there in your face. Even Josh Newton. All three of those guys actually has that. They'll come up and hit. They'll tackle. So, you know, I love all three of those corners right there. As far as the receivers go, Troy Franklin, Adonai Mitchell, and Tez Walker, they remind me of each other a lot, especially Troy Franklin and Tez Walker, man, because those guys, they're even, they're leaving, they beat you deep, they stack you. The in-breaking routes, they're excellent at that. Tez Walker, if he's coming across a slant, a post, he's going to separate, man. They got, like, long legs. It's like one of their steps is like 3 steps, and they can separate really easily. And Adonai Mitchell is just a 50-50, go get it, over the top. I think he has underrated route running ability as well. We've got him ranked over his teammate Xavier Worthy. He's the bigger, more short-handed receiver. I think he could be a beast at the next level also. So these corners and receivers at this tier, man, these guys are excellent, man. It just shows how deep the wide receiver class is. And even the cornerback class. I know the cornerback class is not getting a lot of love at the top because they don't really have that top, that Sauce Gardner, that, you know, Champ Bailey, none of those guys. But there's a lot of really good corners. Yeah, I went way back, right? I went. That's the top. Yeah, I went way back.
DK, real quick, my bad, bro. I should have fought for Quinn Mitchell. That's on me, bro.
Quinyon?
To get it, to get him Quinyon. I'm sorry, to get in front of Enos Rakestraw. That's on me, bro. My man got a bunch of pass deflections. Yeah, he's got a lot of pass deflection. He gets his hands on the ball. He don't turn the football over much in terms of his college football career, as far as I can see.
Yeah, 5 picks last year, I think. Mitchell?
Hey,
man,
man,
this year.
We're going to have to coin this sweet potato pod, bro. We're going to have to coin this, man.
Sweet potato pod.
Yeah, what's going on, man? You're right on time, man. The mock draft hasn't even started yet, man. You're right on time, man.
Yeah, we haven't ruined anything yet. Don't worry about it. We got
you. See, the thing about Quinyon Mitchell, Drew, like, I know he's going to raise up the board, especially once people see him in that combine. He's going to run like a 4.3 40. He's going to look really good. He got all the traits. It's just how they used him is like, man, 10 yards off the ball, zone.
They did.
He didn't really, I didn't see those hips. You know, he was Rakestraw. Man, he's up in guys' faces. The hip movement, he can play inside, outside. He comes up and hit. It's just, Quinyon is just, he's an enigma right now for me, man. Because
if you see the hips, right, and you like the hips, they fluid like oil. I don't know if you want to use avocado,
oily hips.
Yeah, that baby oil, whatever you want.
Shakira hips.
I mean, you got to because to me, if you're a guy who's getting a bunch of pass deflections in college and getting your hands on the football, and he's the type of guy where he's not separating the ball from the receiver. He's not allowing even the ball to get to the receiver. You see what I'm saying? Like there's a difference there, right? There's corners like Lassiter who will separate the ball from the man, right? And Mitchell is he's kind of sticking his hand in there. He's touching the receiver a little bit, but he's getting his hand in there. It's different, man. So to me, those may turn into interceptions. You get an NFL coach to coach him up. Those might turn into picks, bro. And now we're talking about, you know, that's what we thought Rakestraw would be doing, right? So that's kind of where I see it. I'm looking ahead, bro. I'm about 3 steps ahead. Yeah. Maybe I'm too far ahead, right?
Now you might be right. You might be right, man. You get right with the right coaches, the technique, but because that click and close ability by Quinyon is incredible. He clicks there fast. He gets his hands on the football, like you said. You know, I've seen some businesses as well. You know, he's not getting in there hitting like a Rakestraw, but also, you know, we've got to talk about level of competition as well. Also, you know what I'm saying?
That's the other part.
You know, Rakestraw was in the SEC, you know, week in and week out, and you know, at Toledo, you're not really facing nobody. Like D-Kit says, he's the best player on the team, and you know, he didn't really get tested that much either. That's probably why he only had 1 interception this last season.
Yeah.
All right. So Quinyon Mitchell is a bit of a variable here in the top 100 here, the prelim for CPGM. Drew's going to be pounding the table for him. I'm excited. I'm excited about the chance to see him in Mobile, see him up close and personal against a good group of receivers, a very good group of receivers. It's going to give us a little bit more to work with, right, to make a final determination on Mitchell. But from a traits perspective, yeah, he has all that easily. All right. I too am a fan of AD Mitchell. I Adonai, let me put some respect on the man's name. Adonai Mitchell. I thought when we did this he would be a little higher, but certainly a top 40 prospect. I'm in agreement with that for sure. All right. Our next 8 is Edrin Cooper, JT Tuimalau, Tyler Guyton, Kingsley, Cooper BB, Chris Jenkins, Cedric Van Pran, and Michael Hall Jr. So we're getting big again.
Bro.
We're getting big again.
I see a little disrespect too. Who you got as disrespect?
Where's the disrespect?
Bro, first of all,
y'all act like y'all ain't had no hand in this, man.
Bro, I missed this part, bro. I must have missed this. It's okay though. Kingsley should definitely be in front of Guyton. I think Guyton should be slid down a little bit more. There's a lot to love in terms of what you like about Guyton in terms of his traits, but there's a lot of technique issues with him going on there, especially them hands matching those feet. But Kingsley gets to that spot. That man's about that life. He went from right to left this year, so you got to see him play both sides of left and right. You know what I'm saying? I love the movement from him there. So I think we're a little lower on him, but I believe he's outside of the top 40 for sure. And then I think Cooper BB should be a little bit higher. I just think we just pull Guyton down, maybe slide him down to 48, man. Just kind of push everybody up one, and I would be more comfortable there. But
yeah, I went back and watched more Guyton tape, and like you said, there's a lot of issues with him. You know what I'm saying? The technique wise, I know he's big, fast. It's kind of like Mims is a lot better than Guyton, but it's kind of like the same debate about, okay, I see the talent, I see the potential in Guyton, and just haven't got it all there yet, man. So he has a lot to work on with his technique. But my beef with this 8 right here, I think it's JT Tuimalu, man.
Me too, bro.
I think he should be higher.
Me too.
I think he might sneak in the first round. He doesn't have the traits that everyone.
You think he should be higher? You think he should be higher?
Yeah, you think he should be lower?
Should be lower.
Yeah, I was gonna say lower.
I think he should be lower.
Why the hate though? Why the hate on JT?
It ain't hate, man.
Bro. When you watch this game, bro, the hand technician. We talk about hand technique, man. We're not talking about traits. We talk about awareness.
Headley is saying he's too low,
bro. We don't play. He don't play Penn State every week in the league, bro.
I understand that, bro, but the awareness, the hand technician, like he got
instincts.
He got it all.
Yeah,
he got it all.
You know what I wonder? So let me ask you.
I think if we split the difference, I think he's exactly where he needs to be.
Right.
If we split the difference, I think he's where he's supposed to be.
So what pass rusher?
I'm not talking about pass rusher. I'm just talking about overall. He could very well be the next pass rusher. I'm not debating that part of it. I'm just talking about overall prospects. Yeah.
I think.
Let me ask.
He's sneaking the first round.
He gets possible.
Out of all these guys right here, these 8, I think he's probably one of those guys that could sneak in the first round.
Well,
maybe
Edrin
Cooper.
If you're talking about position, value, certainly.
Yeah, he has the top value there.
More so than most of the guys here.
Yeah,
right?
He has the top value there.
It depends on how teams truly view Kingsley, right? And then, it would take a Pete Carroll type of guy to go Edrin Cooper or, your guy, my boy in Detroit, the GM there. His name's escaping me. Brad Holmes. Yeah, Brad Holmes. Those guys will pick their guy wherever. You understand what I'm saying? But yeah, I think when you talk about the position as it relates to the corresponding player, JT is probably the most likely to find his way into the top 32 selections. Here.
Maybe I'm too high on him, man. It seems like everyone thinks he should be lower on this list, but I like what I said. I know he's not playing Penn State each week, but when you watch him, you see him play the run well. You can see his versatility. He can stand up. He can put his hand in the ground. I think he offers a lot of flexibility for an NFL team. Versatility, he does disappear though.
Let me ask you. So you would play him 3-4 outside linebackers where you got him? Or are we talking 4-3 edge?
I think he could do both. But he's more comfortable probably the 3-4 outside linebacker. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. With it. We've reached the 50 mark here. Xavier Worthy, Kalen King, Jatavian Sanders, Bo Nix, 49 through 52, followed by Jackson Powers Johnson, J.J. McCarthy, Chris Braswell, Byron Murphy. Headley's got J.J. McCarthy. Byron Murphy seems to be a favorite among the individuals in the chat. So we get him there. I think he could end up being a little bit higher, Byron Murphy, that is. I think Braswell has a chance to really push himself up the board as well. Bo Nix could be in the first round conversation. I know that there's going to be different opinions regarding Bo Nix, but a lot of quarterback needy teams. Someone may want to take advantage of the fifth-year option that comes along with, selecting a player in the first round. Late first round, I think Bo Nix, even J.J. McCarthy, depending on how organizations view them, would be a consideration at that point. Too rich for my blood. Too rich for my blood, but certainly a possibility. Certainly a possibility.
So I think everybody here could go higher, for the exception of two players, Jatavian Sanders, and it's just the nature of the position. Because I think the tight end position in general is down this year. I think a couple of guys who we thought were going to come out actually are not coming out, so that kind of hurt the position. And then the other guy, who was my other guy, was Kalen King. I don't know, has he showed y'all anything to make y'all think that he's, you know what I mean? Because he was kind of cornerback 1, cornerback 2. It was him and Kool-Aid McKinstry at the beginning of the season, and you just really haven't seen really anything, since with him, right? He just kind of, I don't want to call him a jag because he's definitely not a jag, but you just didn't see him, kind of turn over, right? He had that matchup against Marvin Harrison Jr., and that thing was ugly, man. He was getting abused all across the field, man.
Let me put it this way for Kalen King. I'll put it this way. I don't think Kalen King hurt himself necessarily. I mean, you could make that argument against the top player in this class, right? You can make that argument. I think Kalen King, just as it relates to the other corners in this class, he doesn't have the prototypical size, right? And guys outplayed him this year, right? I don't think Kalen King fell off. I just think other guys outplayed him. So while he was in the top 32 going into the season, he now slips to 50 here, and he may end up lower. He may end up lower here. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think Kalen King is just falling off, wet dope type of situation. I think it's a lot of other guys have demonstrated what they're capable of, and are making a push here in this particular class. So that's why it kind of broke out the way it did. Get in there, Headley.
Just Kalen King or just the
just
8
in
right
general
here?
With this 8? Yep.
Murphy, Byron Murphy. He's a guy to me that moving up this draft board. Love how he penetrates. I know Sweat's the big man on there, but number 90 was also getting after quarterback. He's in one of the better 3 techniques. Also, we talked about Newton as the best 3 tech in this class. I think Murphy is somewhere on that list as well. Then you have the quarterbacks. Bo Nix, J.J. McCarthy. I'll go back and forth with them, but I like McCarthy a little more than Bo Nix. The ceiling, the potential. The last game, he played well last game. In against Alabama, he got one more chance to prove himself against Washington, because against Washington, you're gonna have to score some points, man. He's gonna have to throw the ball more against Washington. So we'll see how he performs there. And I think Jackson Power Johnson, I think he's a plug and play guy. Interior offensive linemen, they don't get much love, but these guys, they get drafted earlier than people think they are, and they play early than once they get in the league. Also, great movement ability, get to the second level, zone scheme. He can plug and play. He can do that right away at the next level. And then our second tight end, Jatavian Sanders off the board. Big guy. He's a matchup nightmare as well. Catch the football. So I like where these guys are. Xavier Worthy, home run threat. And the Kalen King thing, man, you guys spoke about it last year when I watched Kalen King. I liked him a lot. The versatility to play inside and out. He comes up and hit the click and close ability, tracks the ball really well. And this season, that Marvin Harrison Jr. game was rough. But I'm gonna dig into the tape more, Kalen King, man. I'm gonna dig in some more and watch him some more, because I liked him coming into this year, but he just hasn't really proved himself this season.
Yeah,
Jabbar Muhammad. Yeah,
we on that, D Kid. Don't worry.
Yeah.
That name will
that
be,
was my guy.
showing
I've been
up.
tracking him since Oklahoma State.
It'll show up. It'll show up here momentarily. But I think there is some change. We can anticipate some change in terms of how these cornerbacks are ultimately ranked at the end of the day. All right, there is D Kid's guy, Quinion Mitchell. Jalen
running
Polk.
back one.
I've been a real high on Polk for a long time here. Kalen Carson, Jonathan Brooks declared. Check out the video on the channel. Patrick Paul, Travion Henderson, Jeremiah Trotter, Peyton Wilson, 57 through 64. It gets squirrely at this point, right? These rankings get squirrely. As I mentioned at the top, we have individual rankings that we're continuing to work on. There's a lot of volatility. This is averages kind of breaking out. And again, very early still in the draft evaluation process. So everything here is subject to change, except at the very top, right? Like I don't think number one is changing in this particular top 100 board, but certainly a lot of volatility here. Who's your favorite player among this group here, Headley?
Man, I like Jordan. I like Jonathan Brooks, the running back. You know, you put me on him, Juice. I think he's excellent. Just got to come off that injury. It's a knee injury, right? It was a knee injury for him.
I think so.
I think he's RB1 over him and Travion Henderson. I think they're fighting for the RB1. Quinion Mitchell, we spoke about him earlier, has a lot of talent, a lot of skill. And those linebackers, Trotter, tackle machine, really good instincts. And I like Peyton Wilson, man. I know there's an injury concern with him, but it's something about him that's exciting. He's sideline to sideline, triggers downhill really quickly. So I think Peyton Wilson might be him and Brooks, probably two of my favorites in this 8, man. And Jalen Polk, man, we know what he's going to do at the next level already. He's going to stretch the defense, get vertically, catch those 50-50 balls. So, but I like Peyton Wilson,
ACL.
Jonathan Brooks.
Yeah, it was ACL. But he got I guess he got the AP regenerative ability because
he's ready to go.
He's ready to go. You know, you declaring after you tear your ACL in November, and that's something different. We got something different going on there. Kendra Miller or Brooks? Y'all ready to get into this?
Who you got, Drew? Because we love Kendra Miller last season.
Yeah, I think it's kind of hard because it's out of sight, out of mind, right? Recency, well, I can say recency, but out of sight, out of mind. I think I might have to go with Brooks, bro. I think I might have to go with Brooks.
It's close.
It's close.
It is close.
It's close.
But that tells you how great the running back class was last season.
Yeah.
Because Kendra Miller was like, RB3, 4, 5 down that list.
Yeah.
And
it does.
Brooks
It does put
RB1.
things in perspective. For me, I probably would roll the dice.
Second round?
I would roll the dice. I would. So
hold on. So when you say roll the dice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that you're.
There's some volatility here. He should have went back to school. Go to Miami.
You're right.
Go to Miami.
Make sure you say that part.
Put up numbers. Jeremiah Smith would have went to Miami. Cam Ward went there. Put up numbers, and then he'd have been a first-round pick. But alas, that isn't the case. But I personally would roll the dice on him in the second round.
So if you're Atlanta and you didn't get that free agent, you didn't get that that quarterback during the draft. If you're Washington, maybe right.
Yeah, Washington's going quarterback early.
I think Sam Howell. I don't want to call it the project, but the Sam Howell thing is over, right?
Yeah, we're talking new coaching staff, new ownership group. Yeah, they're going to go get their face. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. I think you're right, D-Kid. I don't think he's ready, but I'm rolling the dice. Day 2, I'm rolling the dice. Let me see if I can catch lightning in a bottle.
Day 2. Okay. He's better than Malik Willis.
Ritter.
He's better than those guys. Yeah,
I would agree. And for the guys on the board here, you already know my guy is Mitchell here, right? He should be much higher. That's a guy I'm starting to, I say fall in love with, but I'm starting to really, really like. I love watching Jalen Polk. Every time you turn around, dude's just making a play. It's always down the field. It's at least 20 yards down the field, if not longer. He's either wide open or he just ends up making a play with a guy on him, right? And then Peyton Willis. I'm thinking about Patrick Willis. Peyton Wilson, excuse me. Nobody's Patrick Willis.
Ain't no Patrick Willis in this one, bro.
A different guy, bro. That was another mutant out there running around. But Peyton Wilson, barring the injuries, I think this guy's incredible from the linebacker position. And they used him. I think they used him in a way that I want to see most linebackers used, which is not just, middle linebacker, drop back into coverage. He played middle, he played outside, he played pass rusher. I think he's really excellent at blitzing. I think he has that timed up very well. He also is in the mix with the games up front, with the stunts and different things and blitzes coming behind that. I think he's excellent in pass coverage. He's a good mover. He's a sideline to sideline linebacker. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes and how teams actually view him because of obviously the injuries. And again, to me, I'm never high on linebackers as a position as a whole, right? And so I'm gonna talk some trash right now. But the hate that was given to Ivan Pace Jr. It was some hate, boy. People hated, bro. They didn't like the size, and we talked to him in Mobile, right? I said, "Hey, man, who's your favorite player?" He said, "Ray Lewis." I said, What are the coaches telling you? Coaches, scouts telling you that you need to improve on? They said they just want to see me play, man. That's it, right? Because at Cincinnati, he was all over the damn. I don't know how you watch the Cincinnati tape and say that guy ain't a guy, bro. He's not one of them dudes, as DJ would call him. One of them dudes, bro. And the Vikings are using exactly how they should be using him.
Brian Flores got it going. He got it going. Yeah.
He looked at it, said he said, "I know exactly what we're doing with this guy."
Yeah. We're
outstanding blitzer, bro.
We're attacking. Yeah. Yeah. We try to tell him, D-Kid. We try to tell him, Al Paul, you know what I'm saying? One time for the Bearcat. But we tried to tell him as it relates to Ivan Pace. And as you mentioned, Peyton Wilson, there are some concerns here with the injury history. It's a lengthy injury history. But, you turn on the tape and sometimes you just have to trust your eyes. You have to trust them. You know what I'm saying? And that was the case with Ivan Pace. Yeah, he's not prototypical in size, but look at the types of plays he's making. I've seen guys who have 20 pounds on him trying to jump around blocks as opposed to stacking and shedding. Whereas Ivan Pace is like a missile just trying to blow it up. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, the fact that he went undrafted was, fool's goal from Minnesota, but it didn't make any sense to us. It really didn't. All right. For my money, I do want to get to this question.
Yeah, Carson,
here.
The Carson question.
Yeah.
I know we scouted him in summer scouting, Drew. I remember, you were really high on Kalen Carson. I thought the 2021 tape was really good, but he's dealt with some injuries. 2 straight years. So, but we saw him go against Keon Coleman this season, man, and he put that press to him. He kind of knocked him off his route. I kind of like him in press, bumping and running. So, we'll see.
It was a mixed bag. It was a mixed bag. It was a mixed bag.
Mixed bag for Kalen Carson.
Yeah. I like the upside though. I like the upside with Carson. Things he needs to clean up, but I think he can be a real good pro. Think he has the ball skills and the mentality. I think he's got the mentality necessary in order to hold up in the NFL at the corner position. It's a demanding position. It really is. Yeah. The star of Trevion Henderson has diminished over time. You still like the upside, the talent, but the injuries have played a role. And outside of his freshman year, you just haven't necessarily seen the trademark explosiveness. You understand what I'm saying?
Think, bro?
What's that?
It's that Derwin James, bro. Body can't keep up, bro. Ask Jason Verrett, bro. Body can't keep up, bro.
Man.
Too big for what your body can handle, bro. I'm telling you, bro.
Another season ending.
You're too agile, you're too twitched up, and your body can't handle it, bro. Tyreek Hill can do all that amazing stuff because his body can handle it, bro. He got the fibers in there, right?
Yeah, the fibers are bundled up differently, bro.
Yes.
Yeah. And then a guy that isn't necessarily, we didn't talk about Patrick Paul, but a guy that we isn't necessarily gonna wow you with athleticism, but always seems to be exactly where he's supposed to be. Jeremiah Trotter. He's gonna be a good pro too. You know what I mean? I don't know that he's gonna go day 2. I think teams probably like the explosiveness from a Trenton Simpson more, right? But as far as, and he went day 2, he went round 3. But I think Jeremiah Trotter is going to have a good, lengthy career. He's going to be a starter for a long time because of that football IQ, the physicality. And I think he has enough. He has the requisite athleticism to do everything that's needed of him. He's not going to scream sideline to sideline. But again, he understands what the offense is doing. He knows how to diagnose. He knows how to stack. He knows how to shed. And he's an excellent open field tackler. So I like Trotter a lot. Just a football player, Joey. Absolutely.
There's 2 positions on the field. If you know what's happening in front of you, Like you can do a lot of damage. And
Linebacker safety.
Your
Linebacker
trait.
safety.
There it is. That's it.
Yep.
Your traits. I'm not gonna say they don't matter, but
Yeah.
they don't matter to a lesser degree because you can beat people to the punch because you know where you're supposed to be or you know what's coming. So I think those are the two positions you can kind of make up for not having those traits.
There's Jabbar Muhammad, D-Kid,
There he is.
coming in at 71. I
And
think when it's all said and done, he's going to be higher on our list. When it's all
There's a
said and
short
done.
out right now. You got to go check it out. It's Xavier Worthy and Muhammad doing what he's supposed to be doing, man. He got pass interference. If you feel me, all right.
Headley, you seem to be pretty adamant about Ladd McConkey, man. Let's talk about Ladd McConkey.
It's because I just did some work on him the last 2 days. You know what I'm saying? It's recency bias a little bit, but man, I watched the tape with him and, good burst off the line. He had that sneaky twitch to create separation. He's like a deliberate.
Why is it sneaky, Headley? Why is it sneaky?
Because he wanted it. Because he wanted it, bro. You know what I mean?
But he's a deliberate route. He got that route pace. He got that thing where he sets up guys. He's going to be open all the time. He's good after the catch, sticky hands. He's going to be a player a coach is going to love. And if he gets in the right system with the right scheme, like one of those Puka Nakuas, man, he could be one of those guys that surprises you because he's going to always be open at the next level. So it's interesting to see who drafts him. I think against press man, that's kind of where he struggles. But if you got him against zone or some stack releases, some bunch, so he doesn't get bumped,
like that.
and he could make a two-way go, and he's going to be incredible at the next step. And once he gets the ball, he's a returner as well. So once he gets the ball in his hands, he can do something after the catch. So yeah, I'm starting to like McConkey a lot, man. So I had to get him up here on the list. And I know Jalen McMillan's your guy also, but he was hurt all season. But yeah, man, I really like Ladd McConkey.
Nobody seems to be talking about our guy Cole Bishop, man. I don't get it.
Quiet on him.
You know why?
Why?
Because he out there at Utah.
Oh, Utah,
right?
Provo.
Yeah,
is it
Utah.
Provo? Is it Salt Lake? I think it's Salt Lake.
I think it's Salt Lake.
Yeah, BYU's at Provo, I think. Anyway.
Yeah, Cole Bishop, bro, number 8, bro. You can't see enough of that guy, bro. Like he's everywhere. Wherever the ball is, that's where you're gonna find number 8, bro.
I think it's gonna be a player that we're probably higher on than most.
Yeah.
Than most. I think that's another one. I think we're earlier on Jabbar Muhammad than most of the East Coast of the country. I think the West Coast, maybe Texas, the football fans in the state of Texas, Oklahoma area, maybe more familiar with him. But having played at Washington, sometimes, Pac-12 after dark, out of sight, out of mind. We've seen it on some of the mock draft databases and being way, way, way down the list, whatever the case may be. The film says otherwise. It states otherwise. And like I said, I think he'll be moving up. Jonah Ellis, D-Kid, he probably will be moving up as well. Again, those Utah players not necessarily getting the same love, same exposure that some of these other players have gotten to this point. Drew, let's talk about your guy, Mason Smith, man. It was a rough season for LSU defensively. Obviously, there's always a ton of talent on those LSU teams, but Mason Smith in particular got him at 68. What do you think? What do you think the future holds for Mason Smith?
Depends on what Mason Smith you're getting, man. That's really what this comes down to. Because if we're talking about that Mason Smith with the first step quickness, the devastation, the heavy hands, like he's kind of the total package there in the middle, right? And I think he can play a couple of different positions in the interior of the D line. So I think he kind of gives you that versatility. But it depends on what Mason Smith you get. I don't know if he was injured this season. I know he was. He missed all of last season. I think he played about 12 plays of last year. Yeah. Right. Yeah. He was coming off the injury. So I don't know, man. It's kind of a mystery. And that defense is so bad. It's like, it's kind of hard to gauge, right? Because you can do anything versus them. So I don't know, man. I'm really disappointed. I don't know. I didn't think the defense was going to be. I thought it was going to be it's probably about a C+ for them. Man, them boys was an F, bro. All around that. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm not sure, man, to be honest with you. I'm really not sure, but maybe somebody can turn it around for Mason Smith.
Mr. Prasky, he's a day 2 guy for me. And I'm bullish. I'm bullish. I know he's not ready to play just yet, but
Seattle might be a great place.
Exactly.
That might be a place where he ends up, actually. Yeah.
I think once McCarthy and Nix come off the board, you need to be on the phones to ensure that you can acquire Cam Ward. So somebody's gonna roll the dice on him, bro. If the Desmond Ritters of the world, and he's going to the East West Shrine Games, so he's got an opportunity to really perform in front of scouts and NFL personnel. If the Desmond Ritters of the world could go second round and Malik Willis third round, whatever the case, I mean, there's no reason why Cam Ward isn't right there in the thick of things on day 2. So I again, he's a bit raw. He's got some work to do. Ball security issues, but the talent is there, man. It's there in spades. Chris Jenkins,
he was in the 40s, I think.
Yeah, some in the 40s.
Yeah, I believe so. 46. 46. Yeah, big on Chris Jenkins over here. All right, let's go to the next set here. We got Javon Bullard, Chris Abrams-Drain, TJ Tampa, Kieran. Forgive me, I'm not prepared to pronounce his last name. Our offensive tackle from Yale, Braylon Allen, who I think is gotten the short end of the stick now that Wisconsin has changed their offense. Zach Zinter, to your point, D-Kit, he goes much higher if he's healthy. Tommy Eichenberg and Max Melton. That's D-Kit's guy there out of Rutgers as well. Who do you like? Who's too high? Who's too low? What do you think here, Drew?
Bro, TJ Tampa might be higher, bro. I saw some tape. This might be the best tackling corner in the country.
Oh, yeah.
Nah, he is. Bro, I'm talking about one-handed dragging folks to the ground. So, like he be out of position. I'm like, there's no way he makes his tackle. It's crazy, bro. And I think he has good click and close. Yeah, I'm gonna have to shuffle these corners. I'm gonna have to take a strong look at these corners, bro. My corners might be looking crazy, bro. They might be looking crazy.
Quinyon 1
should be up in there.
That's how you're gonna be. It's gonna be Quinyon and TJ Tampa for you, man. But yeah, TJ Tampa. No, he is probably the best tackling corner, man. He hits. He comes up. When he puts his hands on you, he's physical. The biggest issue with him is hip flexibility, man. He's not as shifty in his hips. He's stiff. He's stiff out there. So he's a guy that you got to find the right system, got to find the right coach for him, and just let him lock up man-to-man press corner, man. He could do that all day. A guy, my guy here is Tommy Eichenberg. Big on Eichenberg for a while. It's just very refreshing to watch a guy stack and shed. It's a lost art there in the NFL.
Bit of a throwback,
man.
Yeah.
Nose for the ball carrier. I think he's fluid in short zone. And he's not a banger per se, but he gets the ball carrier on the floor. He's not gonna come up and hit somebody hard. As long as you make the tackle, I think he can get a little stronger. But he's very patient, and his eyes always leads him to the football. He's always in the right place, and he makes the play. So I'm high on Tommy Eichenberg.
Running back from Louisville. I think he's gonna be a riser.
Jordan.
Yeah.
Jawar Jordan, right? Something like that.
Is he going to the Shrine game?
It's a Shrine game that he's going to.
Yeah, I thought I saw something with him. Okay.
I think he's gonna be a rise. He didn't make our top 100 this time around. We'll see. We'll see. In
Damn,
about,
bro, you couldn't let it play out, bro.
Nah, I ain't let it play out.
Come on, man.
I didn't want to. I wanted to. James asked a very specific question, so I want to address James's question. Or his.
Him and his teammate James Thrash. I think Thrash is a pretty good receiver. Also, I think those two guys from Louisville, they kind of were the offense last season, and I think they'd be risers, man. Once people get to see him in the Senior Bowl, the Shrine game, I think Thrash is at the Senior Bowl and Jordan's at the Shrine. That's what I believe.
Yeah, coming into this season, I had Braylon Allen as my top running back.
Me too.
And Jonathan Brooks. I mean, even with the damn ACL, man, Jonathan Brooks was really, really impressive. It's a system thing for Allen, as Drew just mentioned. That's it. No, I'm not concerned otherwise. I think Braylon Allen's going to be perfectly fine, assuming he's in the right downhill system. All right, 81 through 88. Christian Haynes. Oh, that's the wrong team there. That should be UConn. Rob Moore. I like Rob Moore, man. Rob Moore is climbing the board for me. Talik Williams, Christian Mahogany, wrong team there as well. Something got mixed up here.
Dang.
Rook, Makai Wingo, Jacob Cowing, and Gabriel Murphy. All right. Thoughts?
I like these guards. I like Christian Hayes and Mahogany. I like both of those guards. Interior offensive line. Wingo gets after the passer. He's one of those undersized 3-tech, always on the football field. Tyleek, another D tackle, and Rook. I guess we have a bunch of D tackles right there, interior defensive linemen. Rook and his boy, what's his name?
Tyler Davis.
Tyler Davis.
Yeah.
They were headed to the Senior Bowl last season, pulled out, stayed in school, and they didn't really improve their draft stock. I think
you think they got worse?
I don't know if they stayed like the same. I think statistically, Tyler Davis, he got worse statistically. I think Rook is the better player. You know how he defends the run. But I like Jacob Cowing from Arizona. I know that was one of our guys last season. A lot. He's one of those guys that's just going to get open at the next level slot receiver. And Gabriel Murphy, he's getting better and better. Him and his brother, man, because I think they're going to the Latu school of hand technique because their hands got a lot better this season. They use them in a lot of different ways, kind of over the guard, over the center, over the edge. They move him around, and he gets after the quarterback. So, yeah, some good players here, man. Some good players here.
I think Gabe Murphy and his brother, Grayson. I think it's Grayson Murphy. I think the best is yet to come for them because of the way, like Headley said, they were used and they were just kind of moving those guys all around the line, trying to free guys up, trying to I guess that's part of the scheme is to just kind of move guys around. And so I think they were out of position a time or two. So I think you're not seeing the best from those guys. So I think you're going to see the best. Grayson with the power and Gabe with the quickness.
All right, 89 through 96. Jermaine Burton.
Gator.
First ball. Yeah, we got the Gator in there. Right. Howard Cross, Kalen Bullock, Zach Frazier, Bucky Irvin, Blake Corum, and Cedric Gray. I know people are going to knock Blake Corum for his size. I don't think Blake Corum is small. He's just short.
Nice compact.
Yeah, that's it.
Small, bro. He's just short, man.
That's
it. You know what I mean? I know there's been a lot of carries over the last couple of seasons. They actually lightened his load this year.
A lot, bro.
Yeah. I think Blake Corum is Bucky Irvin. Those are perfect complements, perfect pairs to a duo or in a committee. I think those are going to be excellent football players at the next level. I like Cedric Gray a lot. There may be some concerns in terms of his pass defense, his pass coverage, and certainly that's going to be exposed if it remains an issue. But Cedric Gray is a kind of a lunch pail, hard hat type of guy that I like out of UNC as well here. Who's your favorite player among this group here, Headley?
3 players stand out for me. Blake Corum, he's nice, so I'm not going to mention him. But Howard Cross from Notre Dame stands out.
It actually looks like Joey's mentioning that Howard is going back to school.
Okay. So let's take him off the board.
Yeah, we'll have to adjust.
The other 2 guys, Kalen Bullock and Bucky Irvin. Bucky Irvin is, man, he's one of those guys that slippery. You talking about slippery and wet. He makes guys miss time after time. The vision. I think he's going to be a really good pro. Committee back. You're going to have to put him in a committee. Doesn't have the size, but he's really nice. And Kalen Bullock is a guy to talk about because, he has issues tackling. We dubbed him. What number that was again, Drew? Number 7. Number 7. That's what we dubbed him number 7 because of that game against Utah. Couldn't tackle anybody, but in the pass game, how he triggers down hills, gets his hands on the football, his anticipation skills is really good in the pass game. Just got to be able to tackle, especially how the NFL is now. Everybody's in space. Everybody's running screen passes, getting guys in an open field. If you can't tackle, you can't be on the field, Kalen Bullock. So he needs to work on that. If he can fix that, I could think he could be a pretty good player.
Drew, you want to talk about you got Ricky?
No, we got to talk about Ricky. I talk about Ricky.
I left Ricky for you. I left him for you, Drew.
No, it's
first
straight.
All right. Let's wrap it up here. Blake Fisher, Brendan Rice, Mike Sandersville, and Grayson Murphy round out our top 100. Again, very fluid group. D-Kid, I had to get your guy in there. I think he's an excellent player as well. The slot from Michigan, Brendan Rice has turned a lot of heads. There's some inconsistency with Brendan Rice, but he's an intriguing prospect. I think he's actually going to test really well as well. So best football probably still ahead of him. And I think we like Blake Fisher more than the consensus does. I think a lot of people have him as a day 3 guy. I think he's in the day 2 conversation, late day 2 conversation. What do you think is Burton's ceiling floor? Yeah, that's what he's talking about.
I think Burton's biggest issue is quarterback play, man. Like he hasn't had it. So, You know, and when he was at Georgia, I don't know if he was injured or Georgia doesn't sound like. I mean, doesn't sound like
that's not the way they were
they
attacking.
don't.
I mean,
The
that's the
receivers aren't
reason
a
why
thing, bro.
it's the reason why Mitchell left. It's the reason why Burton left. They work inside
Right.
out, right? It was
Yeah,
Bowers and McConkey, the running backs. That
and then he
was the
goes to
passing
Alabama,
game.
and the quarterback can't get him the damn football, right? So I think his football, him and Ricky Parcell, their best football is ahead of them in the league. I think depends on the team he goes to. If he goes to like a Kansas City or something, bro, it might be lights, camera, action. Fantasy alert.
Might be.
I think he's
All right.
a big play threat.
That's going to do it for our preliminary top 100. We're going to update this on a bi-weekly basis. So not next stream, but the next second half draft show after that, two second half draft shows from tonight. We'll be revisiting this list in terms of the changes themselves. We won't go through every single name like we did this time around, but certainly we'll address the changes. More tape to be watched. All right, let's jump into our mock draft. All right, and as I get that situated
get that ready real quick. I'm gonna answer DK's question about Fisher.
All right, you do that.
The problem with Fisher is the way he was used at Notre Dame, right? So you had kind of playing a normal tackle position while Fisher was running this tight to the line, don't move too much. So I wonder if they're hiding his ability to play right tackle. If there's a deficiency there or something that we don't know, I'm not sure. But it was the left tackle and the right tackle weren't playing the tackle position the same. It was very odd and strange.
Yeah, it was a lot of down block on one side, vertical set on the other side, jump set, diagonal on what it never mirrored. It never mirrored. You know what I'm saying? So it was, especially last year. I think they cleaned it up a little bit this year, but still was a little bit of a difficult evaluation from that perspective. Joe Alt was just so dominant in whatever they asked him to do. It was kind of like, okay, well, you know what I'm saying? But I think Fisher's solid. I think he's a day two guy.
Yeah.